Have you ever felt that sudden urge to let the phone ring unanswered, or freeze when someone knocked at your door, hoping they'd just leave? You're not alone, and you're not becoming a recluse. It's a natural part of aging that no one talks about. In this video, we dive into the surprising, deeply human reasons behind this shift, from the psychology of self-preservation to the wisdom of chasing peace over popularity. Stick with us until the end to discover why embracing this change isn't just normal but could add years to your life, and how it leads to a joy that's uniquely yours. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Reason number 1. Your tolerance for nonsense drops to near zero. When you're young, life feels like an open canvas, and you often fill it with people and experiences, regardless of their quality. You endure flaky friends who cancel plans last minute, colleagues who gossip behind your back, or that one acquaintance who monopolizes every conversation with self-aggrandizing stories. You sit through endless small talk about the weather or reality TV, nodding politely, because you've been taught that being agreeable is a social virtue. You might even laugh at jokes that fall flat or feign interest in opinions that strike you as absurd, all to keep the peace or avoid seeming rude. In your youth, this feels like part of the deal. Social navigation requires a certain level of tolerance for nonsense. But as the decades pile up, something shifts. You've weathered enough pointless drama, endured enough one-sided friendships, and sat through enough conversations that left you feeling hollow. At some point, an inner switch flips, and your patience for emotional clutter evaporates. It's not that you become cynical or bitter. It's that you become fiercely protective of your time and energy. You've spent years navigating the noise of other people's egos, insecurities, and agendas, and you're done. You stop forcing yourself to laugh at humor that doesn't land. You no longer feel obligated to debate someone whose opinions are rooted in ignorance or bad faith. You walk away from relationships that feel like a constant drain, whether it's the friend who only calls when they need a favor or the family member who thrives on stirring up conflict. This shift isn't about arrogance or cruelty. It's about self-preservation. You've learned to spot emotional noise from a mile away, the kind that masquerades as connection but leaves you feeling restless or unseen. Maybe it's the coworker who interrupts every meeting with irrelevant tangents, or the neighbor who always has a complaint but never a kind word. You start to see these interactions for what they are, distractions from a life you're trying to live more intentionally. So, you permit yourself to mute the noise. You decline invitations that feel like obligations. You set boundaries with people who exhaust you. You choose silence over pretense, not because you're antisocial, but because you've earned the right to surround yourself only with what feels authentic. This clarity is a gift of age, a hard-won refusal to waste another moment on nonsense. Reason number 2. Your priorities shift. As you grow older, the questions you ask yourself change. In your 20s, you might have obsessed over how to climb the social ladder, how to be liked by everyone, or how to fill your weekends with plans to avoid feeling left out. You chased a packed calendar, a wide circle of acquaintances, and the validation that comes with being in demand. But with age comes a recalibration of what matters. You no longer measure your worth by how many people text you on a Friday night or how many likes your latest post gets. Instead, you start asking deeper, more introspective questions. How much energy do I have today? Who lifts me when I'm around them? Who leaves me feeling drained? Who can I trust with my truest self? This shift in priorities is seismic. You're no longer chasing popularity or approval. You're chasing peace. You crave conversations that leave you energized, not depleted. Discussions about ideas, dreams, or vulnerabilities, not gossip or surface-level banter. You seek out people who understand the real you, not just the version you present to the world. These are the friends who can sit with you in silence without needing to fill it, who ask how you're doing and wait for an honest answer, who celebrate your wins and hold space for your struggles. If those people aren't available, you'd rather spend an evening alone with a book, a hobby, or your thoughts than force a smile through a shallow hangout. This preference for solitude over forced connection isn't loneliness. It's liberation. It's the wisdom to recognize that your time is finite, and you'd rather invest it in what feels meaningful. You might find joy in simple rituals, sipping coffee on your porch, tending to a garden, or journaling about your day, because these moments recharge you in a way that crowded rooms no longer do. You've learned that being alone doesn't mean being isolated. It means being free to choose who and what deserves your attention. This shift reflects a deeper understanding of yourself, a confidence that comes from years of trial and error, and a quiet resolve to build a life that aligns with your values. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. The third reason is deeply emotional and one that surprises people. It's grief. Perhaps the most profound and unexpected reason for embracing solitude later in life is grief. As you age, loss becomes an inevitable part of your story. Friends drift away to new cities or new phases of life. Loved ones, parents, siblings, or partners, pass away, leaving voids that can never be filled. Relationships, whether romantic or platonic, fade as priorities shift or misunderstandings grow. Each loss carves out a piece of your social world, and over time, you may find that your once vibrant circle has shrunk without you even noticing. For some, this shrinking feels like a natural pruning. For others, it's a quiet devastation. What surprises many is that, after these losses, some people choose not to rebuild their social networks. This isn't about depression or giving up on connection. It's about a profound awareness of time scarcity and a deliberate focus on quality over quantity. Grief teaches you that love is both beautiful and costly. You've loved deeply, and you've lost deeply, and those experiences leave you with a heightened sensitivity to what feels safe and true. You no longer have the energy or the desire to invest in relationships that feel superficial or unstable. Instead, you seek out connections that are grounded in mutual respect, shared history, or emotional safety. This choice can look like solitude to the outside world, but it's often something far richer, a soul-level decision to honor the time you have left. You might cherish a weekly phone call with a lifelong friend more than a room full of new acquaintances. You might find comfort in memories of those you've lost, choosing to carry their love quietly rather than seeking replacements. You might decide that your heart only has room for a few trusted souls, people who've seen you at your best and worst and stayed anyway. This isn't about closing yourself off. It's about protecting the sacred space where your deepest emotions reside. Grief also brings a clarity that's both painful and freeing. You realize that life is fleeting, and every interaction is a choice. You'd rather spend an afternoon reflecting on the people you've loved than forcing small talk with someone who doesn't know your story. You'd rather sit with your memories than chase new connections that might not last. This isn't resignation. It's a form of wisdom, a quiet acknowledgement that you've lived fully, loved fiercely, and now want to move through the world with intention. Solitude, in this context, becomes a sanctuary, a space where you can process your grief, honor your losses, and choose who gets to walk beside you in the time that remains. Reason number 4. Social fatigue. Social fatigue isn't just feeling tired after a long day of small talk. It's a profound, bone-deep exhaustion that accumulates over decades of navigating the complexities of human interaction. By the time you reach your later years, you've spent a lifetime managing personalities. Some delightful, some draining, and many somewhere in between. You've mediated family disputes, soothed fragile egos, and smiled through conversations that felt like a test of endurance. You've attended countless gatherings, from awkward work functions to chaotic family reunions, each one demanding a performance of sorts. The attentive listener, the charming guest, the peacemaker, the entertainer. Over time, these interactions pile up like stones in a backpack, and the weight becomes harder to carry. This kind of fatigue doesn't vanish with a quick nap or a strong cup of coffee. It's psychological, emotional, even spiritual. A 1-hour lunch with someone who dominates the conversation, leaving no room for your thoughts, can leave you feeling like you've run a mental marathon. A family gathering with 3 overlapping conversations, each pulling at your attention, can feel like sensory overload. The mental gymnastics of keeping up, staying polite, and managing the unspoken dynamics of a room, it's exhausting. And as you age, your capacity to recover from that exhaustion diminishes. What once felt like a minor inconvenience in your 30s, a loud party, a demanding friend, now feels like a theft of your energy, leaving you depleted for hours or even days. So, you start to say no. Not out of spite or disinterest, but out of necessity. You choose rest over obligation, quiet over chaos. You begin to treat your peace like a sacred resource because, frankly, it is. This shift isn't about becoming antisocial. It's about recognizing that your energy is finite and choosing to spend it on what truly matters. For some, that might mean a quiet evening with a book or a walk in the park. For others, it's savoring a single, meaningful conversation with someone who doesn't drain you. It's about quality over quantity, depth over distraction. Here's something society rarely acknowledges. Older people aren't always lonely. The narrative we're fed is that aging equals isolation, that solitude is a problem to be fixed. But for many, solitude is a choice, and it's deeply fulfilling. Connection doesn't always mean a room full of people or a packed social calendar. Sometimes, connection is internal, knowing yourself so well that you don't need external validation. It's sitting with your thoughts, listening to the birds outside your window, or sipping tea while staring at a blank wall, lost in reflection. It's not running from the world. It's embracing the freedom to exist without apology. That's not avoidance. That's evolution. It's the hard-earned wisdom of understanding that your own company can be enough. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. The 5th reason people avoid others more as they age, and it's a powerful one. As you age, something remarkable happens. You finally know yourself. Not the surface-level version you present to the world, but the raw, unfiltered you, the one who's been shaped by decades of triumphs, failures, joys, and wounds. You understand what lights you up and what drags you down. You know your triggers, your limits, and your non-negotiables. This self-awareness isn't just a gift, it's a shield. It gives you the courage to protect your peace with a quiet, unshakable strength. With this knowledge comes a protective instinct. You stop forcing yourself into situations that clash with your nature. If small talk feels like a slow drain on your soul, you politely sidestep it. If certain people, whether friends, colleagues, or even family, stir up old wounds or negative patterns, you create distance. This isn't about holding grudges or punishing anyone. It's about honoring yourself. You've lived long enough to recognize the cost of ignoring your instincts, and you're no longer willing to pay that price. For example, imagine you've always been the one to smooth over tensions at family gatherings, biting your tongue when a relative makes a passive-aggressive comment. In your younger years, you might have endured it to keep the peace. But now, armed with self-awareness, you see the toll it takes, how it lingers in your mind, sapping your energy. So, you set boundaries. Maybe you skip the gathering altogether or limit your time there. You're not being cold, you're being kind to yourself. This shift can feel radical to others, but to you, it's liberation. Self-awareness also sharpens your ability to choose who gets access to you. You've learned to spot the relationships that feel reciprocal and those that don't. You no longer chase one-sided friendships or feel obligated to maintain ties out of habit. Instead, you gravitate toward people who respect your boundaries, who value your authenticity, and who don't demand more than you're willing to give. This selective approach isn't arrogance. It's clarity. It's the quiet power of knowing your worth and refusing to compromise it. Reason number 6, and the final reason for now. Time changes as you age. When you're 20, an hour feels like a blip, easily spent or squandered. At 70, an hour feels like gold, precious, irreplaceable, and worth guarding. You become acutely aware that your time is finite, and with that awareness comes a profound shift in how you choose to spend it. Every coffee date, every phone call, every social commitment comes with a cost, not just in hours but in energy, attention, and emotional bandwidth. And so, you become deliberate, even ruthless, about how you invest that time. This doesn't mean you dislike people or shun connections. It means you love yourself enough to be selective. You weigh each invitation carefully. Will this interaction leave me feeling enriched or drained? Will it spark joy or obligation? You start to prioritize experiences that align with your values and bring meaning to your life. A quiet morning spent gardening might outweigh a noisy group dinner. A heartfelt conversation with one close friend might feel more nourishing than a room full of acquaintances. Solitude becomes a deliberate choice, not because you're withdrawing from the world, but because you're curating a life that feels authentic. This shift can be misunderstood by those around you. Friends or family might notice you declining invitations or stepping back from traditions you once upheld. They might say you're withdrawing, or not as fun anymore. They might even take it personally, assuming your absence is a rejection of them. But here's the truth. It's not about them. It's about you claiming the right to live on your terms. You've changed, and that's the point. Aging isn't about clinging to the person you were at 30 or 50. It's about embracing who you are now. You're not here to be the life of the party or to keep everyone else comfortable. You're here to live a life that feels true, to say no without guilt, and to say yes only when it resonates. Digging deeper, the clarity of age. This shift in social behavior isn't just about protecting your time or avoiding stress. It's about clarity. Aging sharpens your perception, not necessarily in terms of memory or quick thinking, but in your ability to see through facades. You develop a kind of emotional X-ray vision. You notice the fake smiles, the flattery that masks an agenda, the one-sided friendships that leave you feeling empty. In your younger years, you might have tolerated these dynamics, hoping to change them or blaming yourself for their imbalance. But with age comes a liberating truth. You don't need to fix what's broken in others. You don't need to play the social game. This clarity can be exhausting if you try to keep up with old patterns. Pretending to enjoy a conversation that bores you, attending events out of obligation, or maintaining relationships that no longer serve you, these things feel like betraying yourself. So, you simplify. You let go of the need to explain why you left the party early or didn't return a call. You stop justifying your choices to people who don't understand. You've earned the right to step back, not out of resentment, but out of respect for your own needs. From the outside, this might look like isolation, but on the inside, it feels like relief, a shedding of unnecessary weight. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. The emotional labor of a lifetime. Another layer to this shift is your changing capacity for emotional labor. For years, you might have been the glue in your social circles, the one who remembered birthdays, planned gatherings, mediated conflicts, or checked in on friends who never checked in on you. You were the peacemaker in your family, the confidant for your friends, the one who kept the connections alive. But after decades of carrying that role, you start to ask, who's holding me together? If the answer is no one, you begin to step back, not to punish anyone, but to stop betraying yourself. This shift can be jarring for others. When you stop being the one who always reaches out, some relationships naturally fade. People who relied on your emotional labor might feel slighted, but that's not your burden to carry anymore. You're trading people-pleasing for peace of mind, and while some connections may fall away, the ones that remain are gold. These are the people who show up without being prompted, who value you for who you are now, not who you used to be. They don't expect you to perform or carry the weight of the relationship alone. They're the ones worth keeping. The physical reality of aging. Physical aging plays a significant role in this social shift, too. Your body changes, and those changes influence how you engage with the world. You might tire more easily, making a 2-hour dinner feel like a test of endurance. Loud environments, restaurants, crowded parties, or even family gatherings with overlapping conversations can overwhelm your senses. Chronic pain, stiff joints, or reduced mobility might make sitting through long events uncomfortable, even painful. Suddenly, the idea of a late-night outing or a packed social calendar feels less like fun and more like a physical challenge. So, you adapt. You decline invitations that don't suit your body's needs. You prefer early afternoon meetups over late-night gatherings. You choose a quiet coffee shop over a noisy bar. You design a life that accommodates your physical reality, not the other way around. This isn't about giving up, it's about listening to your body and honoring its limits. Quiet time becomes a gift, a chance to rest and recharge without the pressure to perform. The evolution of identity. As you age, your identity evolves, and with it, your social world shifts. You're no longer the parent of young children, rushing between school pickups and soccer games. You're no longer climbing the career ladder, bonding with coworkers over shared deadlines. You might be retired, exploring new hobbies, or living a lifestyle that doesn't mirror the people you once connected with. These changes can create a natural drift in relationships, not because of conflict, but because your lives no longer align. For example, the friends you made in your 30s, when you were all raising kids or building careers, might not relate to your current priorities. The conversations that once felt effortless now feel strained, not because anyone's at fault, but because you're moving in different directions. Letting go of these connections can feel bittersweet, but it's also healthy. You're not meant to hold on to every relationship forever. Releasing those that no longer fit creates space for new connections, or for the joy of solitude. The beauty of refinement. This shift toward a quieter, more selective social life isn't about rejecting people. It's about refining your circle. It's about choosing less stimulation and more meaning, less noise and more depth. At first, this refinement might feel lonely, especially if you're used to being surrounded by people. But over time, it becomes a kind of clarity, a recognition that your soul craves authenticity over obligation. Some people won't understand this change. They'll say, "You used to be so social," or "Why don't you come out anymore?" Explaining it can feel impossible because how do you distill decades of growth into a single sentence? The truth is, you don't owe an explanation. You've earned the right to disappear into your peace without guilt. You've earned the right to choose yourself. The surprising benefits of solitude. Here's something remarkable. This shift towards solitude and selectivity can extend your life. Research consistently shows that reducing stress and prioritizing emotional well-being are key factors in longevity. When you avoid toxic conversations, limit overwhelming environments, and choose serenity over obligation, you're not withdrawing, you're healing. You're preserving your energy for what truly matters, and your body knows it. That's why so many older people seem calmer, more grounded. They've stopped trying to impress others or fix what can't be fixed. They walk slower, but their minds are clearer. They talk less, but their words carry weight. They're not running from people. They're running toward themselves, toward the version of themselves they were too busy to meet in their younger years. There's a quote often attributed to Andrew Carnegie. "As I grow older, I pay less attention to what people say, I just watch what they do." This captures the essence of aging. You observe more and react less. You no longer need to prove yourself or chase approval. You let go of pride, of the need to be liked by everyone, of the urge to cling to traditions that no longer serve you. You choose peace over performance, solitude over forced connection, and truth over expectation. And it feels good. The irony of authentic connection. Here's the beautiful irony. When you stop needing people around you all the time, the right ones start showing up. When you stop chasing connection, it finds you. You no longer force conversations. They flow naturally. You don't schedule companionship. It arrives organically. The people who stay in your life, the ones who love the quieter, truer version of you, are priceless. They don't need you to be the life of the party or the glue that holds everything together. They value you for who you are now, in all your complexity and authenticity. This refined circle might be small, but it's rich. It's built on mutual respect, shared values, and a deep understanding that doesn't require constant explanation. These are the connections that make the journey of aging not just bearable, but beautiful. They remind you that solitude and connection aren't opposites. They're partners in a life well lived. Wow, we've just explored the quiet, powerful shift that comes with aging. Choosing peace, embracing self-awareness, and refining your circle for a life that truly fits. What have you learned from this journey? Maybe it's the freedom to say no without guilt, the wisdom to prioritize your energy, or the courage to cherish your own company. Drop a comment below and share one thing you've learned today that you'll bring into your life. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more soul-deep stories and real talk.